For some reason, inside all of us, we tend to think that mental illness is weakness. It's just a natural assumption. It's not something that we necessarily say out loud, and it's something that we certainly wouldn't approve of if we heard it said out loud. But the bottom line is most people that lived with a mental illness, believe that they are weak, that they are not as strong as the people around them. I want to talk about that on STP today because it couldn't be more wrong. Let's kick off and see what happens. Welcome to Shattered the Podcast. STP is the story of my journey from the depths of mental illness to a place where I could live again. Okie doke. So, the supposition that I'm going to make is that if I ask you the question, is mental illness weakness? I believe that 90% of us in the core of our being, unless they've experienced it, are going to say yes. It is human nature. Call it evolution, call it whatever you want. We've grown up with this, existed with this belief that weakness is not good for a human. It's, I don't know, it goes back to the tribal days, I guess. If you're the weak link in the tribe, you got to go. Well, what that translates to nowadays is that everybody that's not been through the experience of mental illness automatically defaults to the thought that it is weakness. All right, now let's just challenge that today. I, at my worst times, hated myself. I hated myself for my weakness. I hated myself for the fact that I couldn't do the things that I did before the same way. I didn't react to things the way I used to. And I hated the fact that I was now weak and pathetic. Now, I was never weak or pathetic. I was damaged. I was hurt. I was injured. Why would you look at somebody that, say, has a broken leg and go, well, that leg broke because you're weak? No, the leg broke because they went through trauma. And if they're doing everything that they can to fix that break, then they are dealing with that physical trauma well. Yeah? Same with mental illness. You have been through some kind of trauma, whether it be chemical, emotional, physical, whatever. But the chemicals in your head don't operate the way that most people's do. Your brain is damaged. It sounds weird. I almost can't use those words, but they're really appropriate. My brain now is damaged compared to what it was when I was younger. I have not developed weakness. I have not become weak. I have simply had a chemical change in my mind so that my mind does not operate the way that it should. I have a damage to the chemicals or the pathways or whatever in my head. When I learned that trying to get help didn't perpetuate my weakness, the mere fact that I had to go to doctors, the mere fact that I had to take pills meant that I was weak. I was not strong enough. I was not a man. Didn't feel fit to call myself a father, a husband, a man, a human. I felt like I was damaged and broken and pathetic and small. Going back to the broken leg. If I break my leg through trauma and I ignore it, yeah, it'll heal eventually, kind of. Well, what do you think physical therapy is? All that is just re-strengthening the muscle so that it can be as good as it was before it got broken. Now, I'm not saying that mental health can be cured and you're going to get better like a broken leg does. Your symptoms, like mine, will probably never go away. But by doing the things that you need to do, by staying mentally healthy, by doing your exercise, by eating right, by trying to sleep as best you can, you are doing all that physical therapy on your mental illness. You're not doing it because you're weak. You're doing it because you want to strengthen something that was damaged. We need to start asserting not outside, but inside. We need to keep reminding ourselves that I am not weak. I am not pathetic. I am going through something hard. I am recovering from some type of trauma. But weakness would be not doing anything about it. Weakness would be sitting there and going, well, I've now got this mental illness. I've now got this broken leg. It's broken. There's nothing I can do about it. So I've just got to sit here and waste away until I don't know what. It's the same with their mental health. Okay, I've sustained damage somehow. I have an anomaly. I have chemicals in my brain. I have electrons that aren't firing the way that they should. That is not weakness. That is an injury. Now, most people that listen to this podcast are like myself. You struggle with mental illness. You've been through the worst that mental illness has to give. Just the simple fact that you're listening today, that you're hearing somebody else tell their story, that you're trying to find keys that might help you move forward, prove to me that you are strong beyond imagining. We look at that, the person that runs a race, yeah? And they're neck and neck, and then somebody gets knocked over. What we respect is when that person gets up again and keeps going in the race. And then if they happen to win a race after falling down like chariots of fire, the world goes ballistic because they still achieved, even though they had this terrible trauma in the middle of the race. Believe me, you are like that person. You could have lay down in your mental illness, felt sorry for yourself, and cry and pine and be a victim. But you didn't. You got up and you kept running. And you did the best that you could. Doesn't matter if you don't win the race. I mean, there's no race here anyway. But just the fact that you don't give up is worthy of respect. Have a great week, everybody. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye for now. Bye for now. Hey, thanks for joining us on Shattered the Podcast. I'm Mark. Special thanks to my producer, Meredith Brosnan, and also to Torian, Kevin, and Lorraine. And we can't forget the amazing band Adelaide, who let us use their song as our theme. For more information, check us out on all your socials, STP Shattered the Podcast.